Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another session of podcast. I wish and I'm sure you will enjoy listening to the broadcast.
Doctor, you said your first medicine is Sanjeevi. Can you tell more about Sanjeevi and how should people use it as a medicine? Or can we use it every day? What is it about?
Sanjeevi is an external application only, and it is designed by Lord Agatya.
Why the name Sanjeevi?
Sanjeevi means to revive,
Okay.
to regain. Exact word meaning will be to revive. So Sanjeevi is an amazing product, which I still wonder how this man made it. He's a scholar who made it. These legendary personalities of the ancient past of the Tamil civilization, there are many number of them. The most powerful one of the guys is Lord Agatya, and he's amazing in coming out with this combination of an external application based with coconut oil called Sanjeevi. There are no words to explain. I always wonder, going through this both modern science and the ancient science together. I'm not here to compare it. That's not my job. My job is to see where these ancients were smart enough to, with their understanding, and why the modern science is not in a position to do it is my study. So what the ancient guys are, absolutely amazing is that they have understood the relationship between the human body and the nature, especially the component, the geological materials, and they were smart enough to, identify the number of materials which is available to us by the Mother Nature. Of course, if you go to the chemistry, to the periodic table, you see 118 components, elements are found there. But that is the modern science study. It is tremendously potential for many angles. But then here, they have done it very well. Now, finally, what do we want? We need something which can give solution to our problem. Basically, the wound care. There are no medicines for wound care till today in this world. We are sitting in April 2023. Now, what is that you need to know is there are 3.5 to 4 lakh web pages. We have still no one medicine for any incurable wound. And this Sanjeevi was done many thousands and thousands of years ago by Lord Agatya, which can still do it. It is not my invention. It is not my technology. Only a divine guy can do it, who did it.
But why is
we are
it
only
not
repeating
famous,
it.
Doctor?
Huh?
But why is it not famous?
If it is not famous because of the reason that, the medical world are not going to agree you at all. If you are going to do something which they cannot do, they don't want you. They do not want you at all. Okay? It's very simple. We've been handling this from 1997, and we have given it free of cost for many years to people. We are still giving it to people, and it's an amazing stuff. Why wound care cannot be done is because there's a mechanism called migration of cells mechanism. When a particular body is, if suppose you've fallen somewhere, you've injured yourself, and initially there'll be bleeding, and then the platelets and the factor VIII come into play and, clot the blood and stop the bleeding, becomes the wounded area. Whatever the good area around the wounded areas, the skin, the epidermis and the capillaries and the, muscular tissue, the fat layer, everything get damaged. So all the good cells from the our surrounding area will migrate, the blood vessel cells, all kinds of cells, and they migrate and they detach themselves from the network. They come into the wounded area, and then they multiply themselves, and then they bridge and heal the wound. That is a mechanism devised within our body. It's called the migration of cell mechanism. If suppose this mechanism doesn't work, then there is no way the wound can heal. It's all over. Whatever ointment and powders and this and that and what's available in the modern science, what you apply them on top is basically to, make sure that the infection doesn't catch on. I wish you understand, Yeah. Then there'll be pus formation and all that stuff. The microbial world can attack it and so on and so on. To protect the wound from that, we have these small things, but they are not wound care agents by any means. Now the mechanism has failed in one area, it becomes an incurable wound, and what are you going to do? You have nothing to offer. So what they do, they make a bigger wound so that the mechanism can revive, or they do grafting to stop the issue. If it doesn't stop, it goes on and on. But here, Sanjeevi, if you apply it on the incurable wound, it heals the wound. How? It does nothing. It revives the mechanism by the body which is not working. That's all. The mechanism of cell migration is triggered back again by Sanjeevi coming in contact so that the angiogenesis can take place, the blood flow will come in, then the wound will heal. And Sanjeevi is such a potential component which will not allow unwanted fibrosis, so that the scar will be eliminated. That is the power of Sanjeevi. It's basically a mercury-based medicine. You have mercury there, you have sulfur there, and you have mercury oxide there, you have lead sulfate, you have zinc sulfate and copper sulfate. Copper sulfate is one of the highest wound healing. Then you have the seeds of cardamom, you have turmeric called kasturi manjal, you have a rice called karbogarsi, you have jeera called katuchiragam, and all this, then you have this natural karpuram and so on, which is finally made out of coconut oil. It's a laborious process. It takes about 12 to 14 hours to make a batch. You hardly get about 300 to 400, maximum 300, 350 ml only. But that's a batch you can do. You can do any number of batch to, to produce more. You cannot do it in big vessel and all that stuff. It is absolutely impossible. And that is how this Sanjeevi come into play. We have huge amount of diabetic ulcers today because of the diabetic part of the world is becoming very high. Most of the diabetic medicines, they hamper the liver, the blood supply to the legs closed down. Finally, there's a wear and tear there. You damage yourself somewhere or you hurt yourself somewhere, or there's going to be some pleasure ulcer somewhere. The blood supply to the leg is already on the slower side. You're going to pick up wounds. It's not going to heal at all. Whatever you do, you have no agent. They become more so incurable wound in most of the diabetic individuals. When you get into diabetic food, the vascularization of the leg is always on the low side. For these kind of wounds, this Sanjeevi becomes very, very fine. Then you have vascularitis ulcers, called the varicose vein. And when they go very bad, then they break and then a wound sets in, which is called the vascularitis ulcers. There is no cure for it. It becomes an incurable wound. I can keep on going there. In the ancient pathological list, they have given 42 incurable wounds so far. Sanjeevi is an amazing drug. Sanjeevi is a universal drug. That is what is most important. Universal drug in terms of two senses. One, wherever human beings are living, either he's going to live in Alaska or Argentina or Tasmania or Japan, wherever, Africa, wherever, it works. Works the same way on human beings. Not only that, in the other sense, what it is, a universal drug is, Sanjeevi is a tremendously potential external application for animals. That's where these guys are fantastic. Every drug produced, they behave differently in different continents with the modern science. Whereas this one stuff, there are millions of stuffs were given by the ancient Tamil with respect to the field of medicine, both internal and external. But then this one, what I picked it up, when I studied this, I have simply no word to explain. Back to you.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you for explaining the mechanism and the technology behind Sanjeevi.
Thank you very much for spending your quality time. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you enjoyed this session. See you later.